Hello, 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 and welcome again to Porch Puppy Comics, where if you can't run with the big dogs, y'all know what to do. I'm KJ with you this morning on Saturday. This is episode 21, and we are doing the Pickle Barrel Saturday. So we always say, you don't know what's in the pickle barrel till you're taking the lid off of it. So we're starting out today in the Pickle Barrel with another character that I like in the name of Rom the Space Knight. Now, I believe I showed you the first issue of Rom, and at one time or another, I believe I had several issues. I had several issues at one time. My Rom collection is kind of sparse. We have issue 12 with him doing battle with Jack of Hearts. We have issue 17. And you know we can't have issue 17 without issue 18 and 19, where he goes up, 18 and 19, 18 and annual 1. And he's going to go against the X-Men in 17 and 18. It was a real sought-after book when it come out. These are not in the best of condition, as you can see, especially on 18 with the all-white cover. Well, they're going against Hybrid. It needs some cleaning. But like I said, I don't do all that, and I guess I'm a purist when it comes to stuff like that. If you just go ahead and get the books, I know you want to get the maximum enjoyment out of them, and I thank the Lord for those that can. Moving on, folks. Next on the docket, we's doing this rapid fire here because there's quite a few books today in the Pickle Barrel. We got Rom Annual 2 and Rom Annual 4. Annual 4, he's going up against, it's a Bob Layton cover, he's going up against Gladiator. And we know how I feel about Gladiator. That's one of my characters right there. Rom is a good character, come from a toy line back in the 80s. I remember being sick, being home from school, and when this book came out, I think 79, it was 79 into 80, and I remember Mom going to pick up my meds, and she brought back the first issue of Rom, and that was during a time that where my grades wasn't up to par, so Dad had me to pack up all my books, and he took them and hid them. And his thing was, his motivation factor, you all, was, you bring your grades up and you can get your books back. Or if your grades remain the way they are, then I was going to be looking at the biggest bonfire that our hometown had ever seen. And needless to say, I got off my rusty dusty and done what I was supposed to do. I could do the work. I was just lazy at that particular time. But turned it around, thank the Lord. He gave me my books back. And as they say, the rest is history. Y'all finding out a whole lot about Brother KJ today. Let's move on a little bit further. We have Thor, the Mighty Thor, 285 and 287. Now, this particular run of Thor, I'm trying to get a set of this from 280 on up to 300. Keith Poland's art on these, and these actually ended up being dollar books, if I'm not mistaken, because on some of them, they're kind of waved, that got that moisture in on the bottom. And like I was saying, it's not exactly a pet peeve of mine. I mean, if the book is not really, really bad, I've had some come in, or pick up some and didn't take time to run my hand across the top or the sides or the bottom to make sure that the book was, wasn't waved or anything, and got home, and sometimes that the cover was literally stuck to the book and there wasn't nothing else you can do but just rip the book in half. I know y'all are cringing out there, but that's what happened. But so now I'm just trying to run my hand across the bottom and the top just to make sure. The Forgotten One. That's who that is. Thor is fighting. I remember back when we were in school and this book come out, a friend of ours named Joe, he would draw. He was another great artist, and he would draw that cover, and he would draw that character because it was a new character we've never seen before, and he would also draw this particular cover from 187 to 188, and Gilgamesh, I think that's who that character is in the suit. Of course, we have Thor 296. Another great issue. These books here in the 290s, 280s, and 290s on up to 300, they're really good books. It's really good run of Thor that particular time that I like dealing with. Thor had a lot of great issues back in the day, from the time that Kirby was doing them and Journey into Mystery, on up to, when he got his regular book, spawned out a bunch of characters in the book, this is the reason why I think I stick with most of the time the older stuff, because it's stuff I know, and you find you're in your comfort zone with stuff Let's move on, folks. We have the last issue of the Uncanny Inhumans and the Incredible Hulk Annual 10, and I do believe, folks, that this is a Frank Miller cover, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's Milgram. Let's open it up. But while I'm opening it, the Inhumans 12 is the last issue. It only went 12 issues, or they fought the Incredible Hulk. The Inhumans not really what you call they are a kind of super group. The Marvel folks kind of ruined him when they done the TV show and when they did the movie. Just wasn't something you was into. Well, folks, this Hulk isn't Frank Miller. It's an artist actually I've never heard of, but it's kind of funny because it's got Bruce Banner as Captain Universe fighting the Incredible Hulk. And like I said, I've always liked Captain Universe, another underutilized character. And I know they came out with a book where they had several heroes. I think Daredevil had it. Thor had gotten it once again. I mean, not Thor, but Hulk had gotten it once again. And then I think X-23 and and we fell into it just like we usually do. We fell into it, or as I heard people say, we drank the Kool-Aid, and that's exactly what happened. So we jumped on it. You can find those books in the dollar bin as well. I told you at one time, another community, that I would show these two books one more time. Marvel 2-in-1, 4 and 5. The Badoon is who they're fighting in this one. How Thing and Captain America got thrown into the future, I still can't remember, but I remember always liking this cover with the Guardians of the Galaxy. This book right here was my first exposure to the Guardians. These are the Guardians that I know, and the only thing with this book, I got this at the last comic show, and I was telling you that the gentleman I got the book from, he does real good as far as labeling his books, as far as what's if it's got any kind of issues or what have you. And he had put in there that the center page was loose in the book. It was completely detached from both staples, but it was yet in the book. But and I said, well, I'll get it, because I always wanted this one here I had picked up from somewhere. I think it wasn't no more than like $3 or $4 or something. And I went on and picked it up. So I always wanted to get the one next to it, So one of these days down the road, if Lord bless and still collecting, I'll upgrade and get another number 5. Now we're going to put up, let me show this one here. This book right here, folks, independent, Bill Black, fun comics. The gentleman here on the cover, Pat Broderick, that's doing the art in this, is Captain Paragon. and super strength, speed. That's Superman-esque character. I think that's what drew me to it. But he's then made his premiere in this particular book, which, spawned out of Fun Comics. Once these books come out, and some of these are hard to find. Some of these are really, truly hard to find. This one, I had to end up getting it on eBay. That was the only place I could find it. Anytime I went to a shop or went to a show, never could run across it. I'd like to get the full set of Fun Comics, and because, like I said, they had a lot of, just a lot of different characters. Still, again, dealing with the public domain characters. Oh, and by the way, community, one of my buddies, he corrected me on one of my videos with the Protectors. I had told y'all that the gentleman that was called the Phantom was named Gravedigger. I don't know why I had Gravedigger on my mind, but his name was Gravestone, is what his name was. And if you look at the video again, where I'm showing off the books, where I point out and say that the man's name is Gravedigger, the heroine in the back is she's in dismay. She's terrified because he's down, and she literally calls him by his name. Gravestone is down. So we kind of had a little laugh about it. But like I said, I don't pretend or claim to know everything. I was telling my wife, used to be back in the day, I knew just what comics was coming up, what they was worth, who was starring in it, the art in it, the writer, different things like that. But I said right now, I guess, I just enjoy doing it, and I know what little bit I do know. And again, I thank the Lord for the community, because I'm still learning a lot when I watch you all's videos. This is Captain Paragon in this one. He just goes by Paragon. It's on the cover. Dark Apocalypse, little mini series. This gentleman here that he's looked like he's teaming up with is called the Black Commando. And he was part of the Sentinels group that spawned out of the Femme Force, which is a bunch of superhero young ladies, Miss Victory, and I think she later turned into Rad, and then back to Miss Victory, and there was a whole host of young ladies, and they was done by Bill Black. It's a good girl artist, what they called it. These books here are real nice. I've got another set of his books that you'll probably see in another Pickle barrel down the road. Here is 3 and 4 of the Dark Apocalypse. They had stripped him of all his powers and everything, because they was, even before the, what was that they did in Marvel? The Registration Act. They was yet doing it in this book, during this series, with their heroes. And this book came out in the mid-'80s, around 82, 83, if I'm not mistaken. Let's just take a look, see. And while I got it open, I might show you a little bit of the art. Yep, this is volume 2. And I was wrong, y'all. Came out in 93. So we have to see what the other one is. This also has a character in here called the Black Terror. And, he's a public domain character. He pops up here and there. Let me see if I can find you a good picture here. Let me see. Because the book in itself is real nice. I know y'all probably say every book that I see is real nice, but there's been some stinkers, y'all. There you go. Give you kind of a preview of what the art looks like. I mean, it's nothing spectacular, it's nothing fancy, but I like it. They say it's the simple things. I'm not taking nothing away from these gentlemen that they got now, and ladies that's doing, the young lady I think everybody's crazy about now, Miss Peach Momoko. She puts out some real flashy art. King Size Annual, number 13, 1979, Amazing Spider-Man versus Doc Ock. And this book, this entire book, except for the cover, is done by Poland and can't make out the last name. But the whole entire insides of the book is done by John Byrne himself. A great book, a great Doc Ock fight. It also has pictures in the back, portfolios of Spidey's characters, his villains, his rogues gallery. And it's a great book. Anytime I run across anything like that, like I showed y'all a while back when I first started doing these, about finding that Amazing Spider-Man 16, the first appearance of Monica Rambeau as Miss Marvel. I had been looking for that book. I had it originally, and it was in this condition when I got it. For this to be a square-bound book from the 1970s, 79, almost, early 80s, it's a nice-looking book. And, one of these days, I guess when the hype goes down, I may try to go ahead and pick the book up, the Miss Marvel, again, in the Spider-Man Annual 16. Maybe. But it's going to have to go down a wee bit first. Let me see if we can do this here like this, y'all. Beta Ray Bill, God Hunter miniseries, number 1, number 2, and number 3. This was a great miniseries going after Galactus, because of what Galactus had done, had devoured his planet, killed his people. And of course, you see the battle with him and Silver Surfer. Galactus is dying in here, and he sends out his heralds, Stardust, and I think at this particular time, Surfer's still working for him. And at the end of it, as you see right here on the 3rd issue, he had mercy on Beta Ray Bill, and he took the essence of, what he found out in this cosmic sphere and made him a female from his planet. So they got on Scuttlebutt, which is the name of his ship. And, that's where it ended at right there. But, he went through a place where he couldn't pick his hammer up. Because of, he told the inhabitants of a planet that Galactus was about to devour, that they had come down with some kind of a virus and they had to evac the planet because they wasn't going to leave beforehand. So he felt like since he had lied to him, then his worthiness, he had lost it and he couldn't pick his hammer up. But he just, it was a mind thing with him. Of course, everything turned out, of course. But a lot of people don't like, as my friend called him, Mike, he calls him Horsehead. A lot of people don't like it, but I like this character. I think it was a real good character, and Walt Simonson done the art in it. And another thing that's a drawing point for these particular books, if you ever see them in the wild, another drawing point for these books is in the 1st issue, it's got Thor 337, 338, and 339. In its entirety. And I thought that was pretty cool, because, yes, again, I had all 3 of those at one time. I had a nice run of the first appearance of Beta Ray Bill, and then the run of Thor that Simonson done. It was a great run. Even if you can go through and you may find them in the $1 box, $2 box, if they're in any good shape, it's best you go ahead and try to pick them up, because that's a great read. Or you can get the omnibus, or you can get the trade paperback, but like I said, I like the floppies and just the fun of the collecting of the hunt. And I like it. When you go with the hunt, you doing good. And again, folks, here we are now. This is episode 21. And our scripture reading today will be coming again from Psalms, the book of Psalms, number 18, verse 46. And it reads, "The Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock, and let the God of my salvation be exalted." May the Lord bless the reading and the hearing of his word, because he is our rock. He is our present help in time of trouble. And we had seen nothing now but trouble, trouble, trouble. But we'll move on. These books here, The Union. Now, the only reason I got this book is because of this young man right here, the Union Jack. It's something about the character, something about the uniform. You know, I think it's a cool character. Even when he came out back in Invaders #8 back in the 70s, sought after book. Love to pick it up. These here, I like what they got up here. It says for Queen and Country. It's a total British team. Read it. It wasn't a bad series. It just spawned out of the King in Black. That's probably about the only thing I have in my collection that is dealing with the King in Black. But it ends up being a pretty decent book. I don't think they're going to do anything else with the characters because they haven't as of yet. Let us move on. Next on the docket, number 3 and number 4. Yeah, hopefully next time around, if we end up showing them again for whatever reason, I'll get the names of all these different characters. It's kind of hard to keep all these different characters in line. So it's number 3, number 4, and number 5. As you can see, they changed up the roster again with Union Jack now leading the team. The young lady here, they look like Power Princess. I forgot what her name was, but she died in the first issue. But still, like I said, it was a decent read. If you can find them and run across the full set in the dollar bins, pick them up. Ain't gonna hurt you now. But the man said, do yourself a favor, pick them up. Next books we have are X-Men Legends #1 and 2. I picked these up because they was going back and redoing some of the old stuff. It says what does it say down there? It says past that shaped the future. And this is what's going on here. And it's different stories. The art is different. You can tell it's an old issue, supposed to be older because of the way Wolverine's costume is and his mask. He's got the little cat whiskers on the side. But these are the only 2 I was able to get, if you want to say they was, newer books, because I picked them up because it looked like the story was going to be something that, kind of harkened back to the days of old, so to speak. And never picked up any other ones after that. But again, if I see them in the dollar bins or the discount bins and it's in my price point, y'all, I'm going to pick them up. This one here, I might have shown this one at one time or another, but I'm right proud of this book. Now, the original is what I was looking for because, again, it's a Dale Keown Huck. But this one here has got the gold trade dress on it. And it's like a negative space type Hulk in this one. And it's nice. It's a nice book. And Lord bless, I got it for a real good price. I think it was last year, something like that. And I figured I'd just hang on to it. I'm trying to learn how to hang on to my books and not trade them off unless it's something that I want, and I can get a good trade out of it. Here lately, me and Brother Rob has been doing a lot of trading, and he's been coming across with some stuff that I've been looking for. He's on the hunt for me now, a Ghost Rider #1 from the 90s. Nostalgia, purely nostalgia. I don't have to have the rest of them. Just that #1. And Lord bless, if I end up getting it, I'll be in good shape. Because that's just pretty much the only one I really want out of the set. Let me move the rest of these out of the way. Get Beta Ray out the way, y'all. Pickle Barrel Saturdays, y'all. Pickle Barrel. What else we got in the Pickle Barrel? We're going to put him up here by himself. I think on Monday's long haul, I think I had talked to y'all about Aquaman #1 from the New 52. This book is fantastic. Jeff Johns, Ivan Reyes, and Joe Prado. I mean, it's a nice book. It's a nice setup. The art is great. The storyline is great. At one point, I may go back and try to pick these up and at least go on up to 25 on it, because this was a fantastic read for me. Same way with the New 52 Flash. I didn't really get into the New 52 Flash to issue 15. I think I might have said that in one of the episodes. But this is a great book. See, I still got the price sticker on it. That was $7.50. You know. Again, I thank the Lord I'm able to trade, y'all. Now, this is another book. It's taken me a while to get. The percentage of these come out of the dollar box. This come out of this first run of the, I think where the Batman Who Laughs made his appearance with the DC metal. But it was, every one of them had this heading, the new age of superheroes. Damage was supposed to be DC's version of the Incredible Hulk. I mean, you know, they've had other bruisers. You know, they had Solomon Grundy, and he'd been out, you know, since the 40s. They've had several incarnations of Blockbuster in the Batman comics. You know, I mean, they've had bruisers in there, but this guy here, and of course they had another character called Damage that came out back in the early 2000s. Never did figure out what the deal was on that character. I never did pick it up. But now this one here, when I read the synopsis on it, when it was coming out, basically they said just picture DC Hulk, and that's pretty much all they had to say. And when I got the first issue, I read it, and I got the other issues afterwards, and it's just pretty much cut and dry, slam bam action. You know, even over here with the second issue, he's going against the Suicide Squad, and you can see Solomon Grundy down here. I think down here is the Parasite, Deadshot, Harley, you know, and but see, the only thing about this character is if you allow me to use the terminology, when he hooks out, he can only do it, I think it's only for an hour. He can only hook out for an hour. And once that hour is up, you know, he changes back into his, you know, regular persona. As I said, I'm running across these in the dollar box. If I pick them up, I'll pick them up. And this one here with Wonder Woman, that's a sharp cover. Another homage to that Superman Justice League cover. The Fantastic Four, I think it was 249 cover, where Gladiator's holding the thing up like it. Look, all I can say is if you get a hold of these books, you do yourself a favor, pick them up and read them, or get the trade if you can't find the single issues. 4 and 5, Poison Ivy. Oh, but it gets better. 6 and 7, Swamp Thing. We got 8, Annual 1. Annual 1 leads right into issue 9. And issue 9 and 10. 10 is a chromium cover. Most of their books midstream back during this particular time came out with chromium covers. I think the whole line did, you know, all the Batmans, the Superman, the different things, the Action Comics, they all came out with a chromium cover during that particular time. And what else we got here? Okay, we got issue 11 and 12. He dealing up Soups. And Soup bring in the heavy hitters. And the only two people standing with the Justice League is Superman and Deadman. Now, I thought at one time or another when I saw Deadman that it was Justice League Dark in here, but it's just dealing with Superman in this one and the Justice League. Still a great, great read. And like I said, you run across them, and I pick them up again. 12 and 13. if you can see, pardon the pun, the damage that he's doing to Batman's Batmobile. And I like the little title of this one over here in 13. It says Dark Knight Demolished. You know, and he's just putting the whipping on the Batmobile. Next, we've got 14 and 15. This King Kong size ape right here, y'all, is Congo Bill. Now, for some odd reason, now, you know, the Congo Bill that I remembered was always able, he could change into a gorilla, but never, you know, King Kong size gorilla. But for some odd reason on this particular island that he's on, it's this, you know, what they call it, the Monster Island, is where he's at. That's where Damage was dropped off at. And Congo Bill is trying to teach him how to do what he need to do when he turns into this persona. Then at particular time, they got a villain that comes in that's changing all the monsters up. This one that's behind him, you know, that character there, the villain that came in and was changing all the monsters on the island, that one that's behind Damage right there looked just like Fin Fang Foom, except he was a different color. And last but not least, it only went 16 issues, 17 if you count the annual. And the book left on a good note. You know, they defeated the villain. Congo Bill had to, you know, let him take his boat to get off the island. And so it just basically had him sailing off into the sunset, heading back to, you know, civilization. And I don't know what they've done with the character, if they're going to do anything, because they got a bunch of these characters that was really good. Sideways and what was the other one? Silencer, which is the female Punisher. Sideways, as he can teleport. I think that's his power. I think he might have some few other power sets also, but he was supposed to be that version of Spider-Man. You know, so already you got, you know, female Punisher, Spider-Man, and then you got the Hulk. And then they had the Challengers of the Unknown, which was supposed to be more geared like an X-Men book. And let me see, who else did they have? They had a character called Brimstone, and he was supposed to be the Ghost Rider character. Never did get into Brimstone. I couldn't get into that one. And let me see, what else? Was there another one? I can't remember if there was another character or not on there, another book, but the Silencer and Damage and Sideways. Now, Sideways is another book I'm gonna like to pick up, another set. I don't know how far it ran. I'm surprised they cut this one off at 16. I hope they decide to do something with the character. You know, they're coming up with all this other stuff. You know, my thing is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, go back and pick up the stuff that you like. There's so many good characters and so many good books out there. As I said in over in the Long Haul Monday, I had watched T. Ravis's video, and he was going back picking up old 90s books, you know, books that we would have passed over in the dollar bins, 50-cent bins, and different things like that. But you know, like he was saying too, and I've said many times on this, you know, on this show, on this channel, that, you know, the books are getting to the point now where, you know, they just drying up. You know, the golden age, they either drying up or you can't afford them. The silver age, drying up or you can't afford them. You know, the copper age, you know, the modern books and all this other stuff that they got going on. And as long as folks keep liquidating their comics and selling off their comics and different things like that, will be a great time for, you know, comic book collectors to just go in and you know, just pick up some good stuff, some good reading. You know, I mean, like I said, I don't want to try to, you know, have a huge collection anymore. I like mine manageable where it's manageable. So, but like I said, if we do the pickle barrels, you know, the pickle barrels is just stuff I got coming. And I believe on the next pickle barrel Saturday, if it be the will of the Lord, I believe we're going to delve into the classic X-Men run. if you're out there in the community, if you got a nice looking classic X-Men #1 with Art Adams cover art, hit me up in the comments and let's do some talking. It might have something you may be interested in. That's the only book I need to have. I think it's 1 through 40, 45, 48, something like that. But here, I'm gonna throw this at you before I sign off. Did you realize that if you collected the whole entire run, right through the Dark Phoenix saga, on up through the Wendigo saga, was at 139, 140, where Kitty comes on, she comes into play, and then you notice that it skips immediately from 140 to 143, which was John Byrne's last issue for the comic. Well, it skips, 141 and 142, which is Days of Future Past. And it never did dawn on me that those two books wasn't in there. Because, see, a lot of these books now are picking up heat and picking up, because it's got new stories in it. It's got new stories that's connecting to the old stories that kind of, bring a little, shine a little light to it. I was looking at one that even had Jim Lee art in it, as a backup story. I mean, so you just have to stop and go through the books and look at them. And the biggest chunk of those books, y'all, I picked up in the last comic show. They was in a dollar bin. And these books were phenomenal. They were fantastic looking. And I just couldn't believe it. I had to put back some of the stuff that I had already picked out in lieu of picking up these because they are yet drying up. Again, you used to could find these just about everywhere. But see, now the collectors are grasping hold of them because, look, even though they are a reprint, but they're a reprint with new stories. And so, it's something to pick up. But I believe on our next Pickle Barrel, if it be the will of the Lord, that's what we're going to show. We're going to show those. I think I still have a few more sets. I've got some more books from the 70s, dealing up with Black Goliath, Power Man, and let me see, who else we got? We got Beowulf. We got Justice Inc. My goodness, we got Firestorm. We got a little bit of everything that we're going to probably be bringing out in the Pickle Barrel. And like I said, I hope you enjoy it. So, as we say all the time, again, only the Lord can fill that void in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, in your life. Only Jesus can do it for you. He can fill the void. And I thank the Lord. Look, and I say, listen to the scriptures. Listen to the scriptures. I know this is not what you probably came for, but again, I'm sharing what I love with what I like. I love the Lord. I like the comics, and I just want to be a help to the community as well, praying for the community, and like I said, we love y'all with the love of the Lord. We love you with the love of the Lord. And hopefully we'll be able to get back with you on the next episode of Porch Puppy Comics. Wherever you can't run with the big dog, stay on the porch. It's nice on the porch, y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. KJ out.